units part, measuring quantities. So measurable quantities, finding their units and everything, they don't know how to do that one. So therefore this is the basics of physics we are doing it. So physical quantities are those quantities which can be measured, that means which can be easily counted. So distance we can measure. Those distance between the two cities we can write as 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. So that means distance is a measurable quantity. If we are able to measure the distance between two things. Length of the mobile you can measure, length of the table you can measure, so therefore it is a physical quantity. Time, how much time you are taking class, that is measurable. You cannot tell a weird answer that is much time, it's a long time, you cannot tell. You can directly tell it is a 1 hour time I was spending in playing, I was spent in playing, or I have spent in watching TV movie, anything. Mass or your mass can be measurable. It cannot be say that is okay, I have some amount of mass. It's not, it is exactly exact value of mass you can tell, exact amount of force we can tell, exact amount of speed this vehicle is moving, that we can mention. Velocity we can mention, area we can calculate. Though it is a regular shaped object or irregular shaped object, we are able to count its area, measure its area. Volume of the container we can measure. So these all are measurable quantities. There are many more, so these are the few examples. Now out of these, some quantities are fundamental quantities and some quantities are derived quantities. So fundamental quantities, to measure them we are not supposed to depend on any other quantities. To measure that value, measure the distance, are you able to depend on any other quantities? Is there a formula to calculate distance? Is there any formula to calculate the distance, the length of the table, or length of the this one chair? Is it by formula you are doing, or by any device you are measuring it?
By device.
Or
By
by
device.
device. So that means it is to measure that quantity. You are not supposed to depend on any other quantities, right? So that those quantities we call as fundamental quantities. So fundamental quantities, quantities which are independent of any other quantities, quantities which are independent of any other physical quantities. For example, those are distance, that is a length, distance and length is same. Mass, to calculate the mass of object we are using physical balance. Other than that, by any formula we are not able to measure it. Formula is not there, so directly we can measure it by using the physical balance. Then time, by stopwatch, watch only we are measuring it. So this is again temperature, by using thermometer only we can calculate the temperature. Then there is a current, that is a higher part. The current will come, current in the electricity, so that is also independent of anything. Only device we have to use it to find the value of current, value of temperature, value of time, value of mass, value of length. So these are all, we call it as a fundamental quantity. So there are totally 7 fundamental quantities are present, only 7. There is another, next one is mole of a substance. Mole, that is amount of substance. You're not supposed to remember this, only I'm telling you. And candela is a unit actually. That is again intensity.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, you told mass and weight are not same.
Yeah.
Then even weight is one of the fundamental quantity.
No. Weight is dependent on mass. By knowing the mass, we can calculate the weight.
Yeah.
Okay. And derived quantity, quantities which are dependent on fundamental quantities. Quantities which are dependent on other physical quantities. So those are to find out area. Can you calculate directly area without any formula? Area, it's dependent on length. So therefore area is dependent on length. So area is derived quantity. Volume, also dependent on length. Length, volume of the cuboid is length into breadth into height. So that means it is dependent on length part. So therefore, volume is also derived quantity. Then again, weight you have considered, right? This one has told me weight. So weight is dependent on mass. So therefore, it is dependent on mass. So therefore, weight is a derived quantity. Then next one is which we can consider
Ma'am,
speed. Yes.
I was going to say.
Yes, Tanya.
I was going to say same thing. Speed.
Okay, speed. Speed is depends on distance. Speed is equal to distance by time. So that means it is dependent on length and time. Both of them it is dependent. So therefore speed is also a derived quantity. Force is dependent on mass and acceleration. Acceleration still you have not learned. Therefore force is dependent on the mass. So therefore force is also a derived quantity. So the quantities which are dependent on any other quantities, to find those values, we have to be dependent on any other quantities. So those quantities we call as derived quantities. And the same thing, units of this one. So is it clear? Fundamental quantities and derived quantities means what?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then units of physical quantities. What are units of physical quantities? That is a standard unit. Units are standard units on in which we are measuring these all quantities. So units, that is the what you call, that's just like a meter. If you consider length is measured in terms of meter, mass is measured in terms of kilogram, time is measured in terms of second. So that is the basic thing in which we are measuring, the basic fundamental things in which we are measuring these values. So that is called as unit. So units are also fundamental units and derived units. Units are also called as fundamental. Fundamental units and derived units again. Fundamental units means units are those things in which we count the substance, in which we measure any physical quantity. So fundamental units, the fundamental units, that is units are their own units. They are not dependent on any other units. So independent. There are 7 independent units. That is first one for length. We write the standard units as meter. It is written as m. Then mass is kg, kilogram. Time, unit of time in which we measure
Second,
seconds. Temperature
Kelvin.
is Kelvin. Then current is ampere.
Ma'am, Kelvin is as a unit. Yeah.
Yes, SI unit is Kelvin. Okay, these are the fundamental units. So these units are not dependent on anything. They have given by the scientists directly. And now derived units which are dependent on fundamental units.
No.
Those are, suppose for area, it is we write meter square. So that means meter square means meter into meter. Length into length. So meter into meter, meter square. So meter square area dependent on the length, unit of length. So therefore area is a derived unit. Volume is meter cube. Why? Because it is length into breadth into height. Length is measured in a meter, breadth is also measured in meter, and the height is also measured in meter. So meter into meter into meter is meter cube. Clear? Then speed. Speed is equal to distance by time. So distance unit is meter and time is second. So unit of speed is meter per second, which is dependent on the distance and times is unit. So therefore speed is also derived unit. Okay. So these are the units, SI unit. These are called as SI units, System International Units, which have been considered worldwide. So worldwide, wherever you go, these are the units we are using for those fundamental quantities, those quantities. So SI unit, that is System International. So these are approved, considered everywhere in the world. So these values you have to remember. There are the multiple units and sub-multiple units also, so which are the higher than these values and lesser than these values. Okay, one thing, convergence, you need to know of multiple and sub-multiple units, the convergence. Few convergence you need to know. The smaller units or 1 K when we are considering, then it is the 10 to the power 3.
Ma'am,
K
can you
means,
scroll a bit up?
I will explain and then you can write it down everything. K when we are writing, so that is kilo. It's actually K means kilo. It is 10 to the power 3. Then there is a higher unit, mega. It is 1 mega, M, capital M. That is equal to 10 to the power 6 we are considering. Then it is giga, is 1 G. That is 10 to the power 9, positive 9. Then next is tera. So 1 T, that is 10 to the power 12. Of any quantities 10 to the power 12 multiples we are taking, then that is these values we will get. Now the smaller units, milli, that is taken as ml, m value, small mm or m we are taking it, that is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 part. Milli, then centi is centimeter, centigram, it is 10 to the power minus 2. Then milli, then we have micro, symbol for micro is this, which is 10 to the power minus 6. One part is 1 millionth part is called micro. So if we consider 1 micrometer, that is equal to 10 to the power minus 6 meter. That means 1 meter scale, if you divide into 1 millionth divisions, equal divisions, then 1 millionth division is 1 micrometer. Is that clear? Then next is nano. It is denoted by small n, 10 to the power minus 9. Pico, that is P, it is denoted by 10 to the power minus 12. So these are the smaller units.
What about deca and hecta?
Those are there, but more than that. Kilo is more than that.
Yeah.
Mega, 1000
Yeah.
times more is mega. Again, more 1000 times more is giga. The larger units we are counting. Again, 1000 times more is tera.
Yeah. So between the larger and the smaller, these are the deca, hecta.
Yeah, these main things. In between kilo and meter value, there are deca hectare present.
Yeah.
And these are the smaller units, smaller than a meter, smaller than a kg, smaller than a second.
Ma'am, should we remember all this?
Yes, you have to remember these. Because this is the basic of physics. You should know all these conversions. Then
Okay,
write down all these things.
Ma'am?
Yes,
Ma'am, I don't know what velocity is, but uh, velocity is neither fundamental nor derived.
it is derived. Velocity is derived.
from means
Length. Length and time. In this chapter, we are learning all. What do you mean by speed? What do you mean by velocity?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am,
Yes.
mega all are bigger units and
Yes.
milli and all are smaller
Smaller
units.
units.
Okay. Ma'am, we should remember it.
Yes. You are. Which one? Units, no? Yeah, units
All
you
of
have to
these.
remember. Yes, all conversions you have to remember.
Okay.
You have written down this? May I scroll down?
just
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you scroll it up a little bit?
Okay. More? You need more?
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
I
ma'am.
am in that unit.
Which units?
That's one.
Here, units of physical quantities, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So this part you can see here.
No, not that, not that. The top, that ma'am.
Fundamental quantities,
Derived quantities.
Okay, right.
Yes,
Faster.
ma'am.
Faster, faster.
Done, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
below System International,
Yeah.
you have written 1K. That K is capital or
Kilo.
small?
Small k. Kilo. Kilometer, kiloliter, kilogram. So larger units we are measuring in that. Okay, then next starting, these are the things you have to remember. This year you need micro. In biology you need nano and pico. Micro and mega you need it. Kilo and centimilli we are always using. The extra part you need to know, that is micro part. Nano and picometers are the size of cells.
Ma'am,
So that
what is under tera?
below tera, no. This is micrometer example I've told about the micro.
Yeah.
That is micrometer. Okay.
Can I scroll it up or okay?
What
Nothing.
happened? Okay, now starting with the chapter, these are the units you need to know. In this physics, there are many numericals, and every numerical has formula, and for the formula, again, there are the units. So whenever you are mentioning any physical quantity, you have to mention it in terms of units also. If you forget to write the units, you will lose half marks for every unit. Every quantity, whatever you are writing, as the answer, at the time of answer, when you are mentioning the values, you have to mention along with its units. If you don't write the unit, you will lose marks. And the conversion of units, we need to convert units from one unit to other unit. So that also you have to do. Sometimes it is given multiple units, you have to convert into smaller units, SI units.
Ma'am, centi is C.
C.
Small c.
Okay, so the conversion of your units and everything is very important in this physics part. Physics, all 5 chapters, you have the numericals. So starting with the motion part now. Motion means any object is said to be in motion. When we can say that is object is in motion. Right now you can see my cursor is in motion. Why you can say that? Right now cursor is not moving. It is not in motion. Yes, Tanya?
Its circle is moving means it is in motion.
Yeah, circle is moving, that means it is in motion. So what is exactly happening? Initially cursor was here. Now it is, I am dragging it to this position. So that means then only I can say that it is moving. If I'm keeping here, is it moving?
So is it place change?
Place is changed. So position is changed. There is, if object is in motion, if there is change in position of the object. Whenever any object changes its position, then we can say that object is in motion. Okay. So according to motion, physically, there are two things, two states. We can write as state. These are the states. State of motion and state of rest. State of motion means object is changing its position. And state of rest means object is not changing its position. So these are actually the relative quantities. Now what is relative? Relative means here, when we can say that object with respect to any object fixed position. So if I will tell here, this is my fixed position, this is my fixed position, and now cursor is initially at this position, now this position, when this position, this positions. So now with respect to this is at the same position, it is not changing its position. With respect to this, in comparison with this, the cursor is changing its position. So therefore, this cursor is in motion. Now, if you can take the example, that is when you are in a train, when you see outside, what you will feel?
That the trees are moving.
Trees are moving. Actually, trees are moving?
No.
No, ma'am.
No,
The
ma'am.
train is moving.
Actually, what happened? You have taken yourself as a constant quantity, fixed quantity, and with respect to you, actually you are changing position. So we feel that tree has changed its position. It has gone back. So we feel that there is a motion. So therefore, now we can say that trees are moving. They are in motion. But actually, you are in motion. With respect to tree, you are moving. With respect to any person outside the train, you people are moving. But when you see the person standing in front, sitting in front of you in the train, how you feel it? When you and one more person, your parents, are in the train sitting in front of each other, with respect to you, when you see that person, is it without seeing outside, can you say that that person is moving?
No.
No,
No,
ma'am.
that means you both of them are at stationary position, at rest position. With respect to you, is that person changing position? Is
No.
your parent changing
No.
position? He is
No,
also
No,
sitting
ma'am.
in front
No,
of
ma'am.
you, so he is
No,
not.
ma'am.
So in your aspect, according to you, you are considering as a fixed object your parents or any person in that vehicle, in that train, is not leaving place, is not changing position. So that means everyone are at rest. Rest means stationary, they are not changing position. So that is called a state of rest. But a person outside the train, for that person, you and anyone with you, near you, whoever are sitting, all of you are
moving.
moving, because with respect, he is the stationary, that means stand still position, fixed position. So he is at a fixed position, and with respect to that, when he sees you are changing position, or your parents are also changing position, because the train itself is changing its position. So therefore, we are said to be in motion when we are inside the train for a person standing on the platform. Is it clear? So that means every time we cannot say that his object is in motion. So when you are inside the train and another person inside the same train, you people, with respect to each other, you are not moving. But with respect to any person outside the train, you are moving. So at the same time, you are not moving also and you are moving also. So this means that motion and the state of motion and state of rest are relative quantities. They are related to the fixed object we have to consider. Related to any one object we are considering, if with respect to that object, if any other object is changing its position, then we can say that the object is in motion, or that is we call a state of motion. With respect to any fixed object, if any person or any object is not changing its position, then that object is said to be at rest. What I want to tell, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So here object is in motion if there is a change in position of the object with respect to any stationary object. So we have to consider first stationary object and then check whether this is moving or not. So state of motion, that is the same. This object is in state of motion. Object is in state of motion if it changes its position with respect to WRT, that is with respect to any stationary object. Stationary means not a stationary shop. Stationary, that means object is at rest. That means it is not moving. That object is called a stationary object. And state of rest means object is in state of rest. That means if it does not change its position. With respect to any stationary object. So with respect to book is kept on lying on the table. With respect to that, if you are changing direction, then you are in motion. With respect to the book, if you are not changing the direction, you're not changing the position, then you are at rest. So right now you are sitting at one place. So you are at rest, state of rest. When you are riding a cycle, you are in a state of motion. Is it clear? So write down these definitions.
Ma'am,
Yes.
and now we are writing means it is in state of motion.
Yeah, when you are writing, your pen is in state of motion because the pen is changing its position with respect to us.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
With respect to notebook, pen is continuously changing its position, so therefore pen is in motion.
Okay, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Then next is there are different types of motions are there. You have learned many different types of emotions. Mainly three types of emotions are there. There are many more, but mainly right at this stage, you should know only three states of motion. One is linear motion. Yes, types of motion. So one is called as linear motion. Then second one is rotational. And third one is vibrational or oscillatory. Linear motion means the object is moving in straight line. Object is moving in a straight line. Then that type of a motion in the object is called as linear motion. Rotational motion, that means object is revolving around a fixed object. If object is moving in circular motion, circle, around a fixed object, then that is called as rotational motion. That is, earth is rotating. So earth is rotating around itself, around its own axis it is rotating. That means there is a one fixed point and it is moving around. So that So when the object is moving around a fixed, so that means if you keep a rope in your hand and one end of the rope has been tied to a stone, when you keep whirling it, what will happen? That is a rotational motion, because stone is keep on rotating around your hand. So therefore that is rotational motion. Oscillatory motion means one to and fro motion. To and fro motion about its mean position. That is called as oscillatory motion. That means here oscillation pendulum motion, pendulum example. It is moving this side, again come back to the mean position, again move to the other end, and then again coming back. So this type of a motion we call as rotational motion. That is pendulum. We'll move this side. Then when we release it, it will go to this one position. Again, it will go to the other position and again come back to the mean position, again move here. So it will keep on moving from this to this, this to this, this to this. So this position about a mean position, if any object is moving continuously up and down or horizontally, then that is called as oscillatory motion. Example is a needle motion in the sewing machine. Needle is moving continuously up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That is also oscillatory motion. Yes, Vedant? You want to ask something?
Yeah, ma'am, is it necessary that all the types of motion in this whole world are of these three types only?
No, not three types. There are many more. Right now you are learning these things. There
Oh.
translatory motion also, revolutionary motion is also there, periodic motion it will be there.
Oh,
So
okay.
there are many more. Right now we are learning this.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the three types of a motion.
Okay.
In class 8th, you are learning only linear motion. That's it. No other motions. You only know what are the types of motions, but thing is you are this year you are learning everything about only about linear motion.
Okay.
So rotational motion, that is circular motion, all you will learn in the class 11th, not now. So linear motion, whenever object is moving, that means you are riding a cycle in a straight line path. That is a linear motion. When you throw a ball on the horizontal ground, when you throw a ball, then that is a linear motion. The motion of the cricket ball, one direction it is going. So that is a this one, linear motion. Kicking a ball, when you kick a ball, football, when you kick it, it is going in a one straight line. So all those are linear motions. So this year you are learning only the all the aspect related to the linear motion only. So different definitions related to the linear motions, you need to know different properties which are linked with linear motion. So first you are learning what is basic parts, you are learning distance. Second one, displacement. Third, you are learning what do you mean by speed. Then what is the difference between speed and velocity? Then acceleration. In this chapter 8th, you are learning all these five properties, their formulas, how to calculate these, and their graphs. For the linear motion, their graph you have to learn, and then numericals based on all these five properties you have to learn in this chapter. You are learning equations of motion also. By using equations of motion, we have to solve many numericals. So approx 100 numericals you have to solve in this chapter. Okay, so the actual physics now for you, it started this time. So first we are starting with what do you mean by distance and what do you mean by displacement. So we are comparing and learning those two things. First distance and displacement. Then secondly speed and velocity. So what exactly is speed and velocity? We can, right now we are taking it as the same, but they are not actually same. They are different. Okay, so first write on this part. Types of motions. Completed?
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you scroll it down?
Now distance and displacement. Next part we have to do is the what do you mean by distance and displacement. So now we are comparing, we are taking always as the same, but they are not actually same. So what do you mean by first distance? Distance means the total length of the path. Total length of the path covered by an object is called distance. So that means if the person, any object or a person is moving from point A, going 3 meters, 300 meters towards B, and then again he is turning 400 meters towards south. This he has turned, he has traveled 400 meters. Again he has moved 100 meters up other direction. Again from that he has covered 300 meters. So it was 400 meters actually. Take it as 400 meters. So in that case, how much is the total length he has traveled?
1200 meters, 1.2.
Total length traveled is equal to 300 first, then 400, then 100, and then totally 400. So this is equal to 1200 meter distance that person has traveled. So therefore distance traveled is equal to 1200 meters. But when we consider as a displacement, so displacement means how much object has displaced. So what was its initial position and what is its final position? So how much distance he has changed its position. So he was here initially, now here he was here at this position. He is at this position which is at point B. So now whatever the path he has traveled doesn't matter. Now what is his initial position is point A. Final position is this. So how much distance he has displaced, that means moved. Only here to here he has moved. So that
400 meter.
so only it
400.
is 400 meters. So this is if we check. So this is 100 meter only. So initial position is A, final position is B. So how much distance in a straight line path he has traveled? Only 400 meters. So his displacement is 400 meter. So this is the shortest distance between the initial point and the final point. Initial and final point is called as displacement. It is actually the straight line distance between the initial and final point. Shortest distance between the initial and final point, which is actually straight line distance between initial and final point. Is that clear? Now take another example. A person traveled towards east 8 meters. A to B person traveled, it is 8 meter. Then again towards east. Now again towards north, he has traveled 6 meters till C. Now what is the distance covered? How much is the total length of the path covered? 8 meters plus 6 meters. That is equal to 14 meters. Now what is the displacement? Displacement means the straight line distance between the initial point and the final point. So what is the initial point? A is the initial point and C is the final point. So straight line distance?
8 meter. Is it?
No.
Yeah, no.
So it is in a
Hypotenuse.
straight line. So here it is, I told you this is moving towards east and then 6 meters towards north. So in between north and east direction, there is a 90 degrees. So we have to find out the displacement, we have to calculate this hypotenuse. This is a right triangle. So we have to use the Pythagoras theorem to find out the hypotenuse AC. So displacement is equal to AC. So we to calculate AC distance, use Pythagoras theorem. AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. That is 8 square plus 6 square. 64 plus 36. That is 100. AC square is equal to 100. So AC is equal to
10 meter.
10 meters. So therefore displacement is only 10 meters. So distance covered is 14. But how much is the displacement? That is 10 meters. So displacement is how much distance you have changed your position. That person has changed its position. So that means that is always a straight line distance. It is always straight line distance between the initial and final point. Is it clear? What is distance and displacement? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So write down this first with examples.
Ma'am, can you scroll it down?
Yeah. Completed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then one very important, this one. One more example. See, a person is moving from A to B distance. A to B, suppose it is 100-meter distance he has traveled. And again written back to the same path, 20 meters. 20 meter he has written back to C again, point C. That is point C. So how much is the total distance covered?
120 meter.
120 meters. 120.
Distance covered is equal to 100 he has moved, and then again plus 20 more he has moved. So 100 plus 20, that is 120 meter. Then how much is the displacement now?
80 meter.
80 meter.
80, ma'am. 80.
That is because here, now what is the initial distance? A. Final point is C. So distance between AC. So that is equal to AB minus BC. That is 100 minus 20. That is 80 meters. Okay. This means when the object is moving forward, we are always adding, going forward or coming back. Every time we are adding all the terms. We are not subtracting anything. So we are not subtracting anything. So therefore distance is only dependent on distance covered, means how much is the length covered by it. We are not minding whether, we don't mind whether the object is moving towards right, towards left, towards east, towards west, or towards north or south. We don't bother about that. So therefore distance is independent of direction. But what happened in the displacement, you have seen here it is moving forward and then coming back. So due to coming back, the distance we have to subtract. So that means moving forward, if you consider as a positive value, plus value, moving backward, we have to consider as a negative value. If you take it moving east, is considered as a positive value, then moving west direction, we have to consider as a negative value. Moving north, we are considering as a positive value. Moving south, we have to consider as a negative value. That's the reason we are subtracting it. So that means displacement, for the displacement, it is direction is very, very important. Mentioning the direction is very important. So that means displacement is dependent on direction. Displacement value changes by knowing the directions. So therefore, the quantities which are dependent on, there are the physical quantities are divided into two types. Physical quantities are divided into two types. That is the vector quantity and scalar quantity. So now what are these quantities? Scalar quantities means those quantities. Scalar quantities are those quantities which are independent of directions. Which are independent of direction. Those are scalar quantities. And then vector quantities means which are dependent on the directions. So such quantities are called as vector quantities. Now displacement in distance, when we count the distance covered, are we mentioning, are we taking moving forward is positive, moving backward is negative? Do we consider?
No, ma'am.
No. So therefore distance is independent of direction. So therefore distance is a scalar quantity. But displacement is moving forward, coming back, moving east, moving west matters. Value of the displacement is changing according to the direction. So therefore displacement is vector quantity. Is that clear? Scalar and vector part is clear. Scalar quantities means those quantities, while measuring them, we don't bother about the direction. Which direction we are moving, that we don't bother. So that kind of a quantities we call as scalar quantities. And in distance, we are not bothering those. So distance is independent of direction. So therefore, distance is scalar quantity. And the vector quantities are those quantities which are dependent on directions. So therefore, displacement always depends on direction. So therefore, displacement is a vector quantity. Okay, fine. Now you can leave. I will continue with the next tomorrow's class. Tomorrow 10 to 12 is the class.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
You can write it tomorrow.
Thank you,
Ma'am.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Yatin.
Thank you and bye, ma'am.
Bye.